Okay. I think we are live now. Let me turn on some tunes. Let me turn on some tunes. This should be good, right? Make sure it's not too loud.
Includes features that help you optimize and organize your marketing.
Turn it down on my headset. And then down a little bit here. Okay. I think we should be good now. Okay, let's pull up the stream now so we can see it. Then let me copy it, and then we're gonna post it everywhere. Copy. Copy. Let me post this on the announcements. Oops. And then I forgot to post the link. Way to go. Way to go. There we go. Okay, let me tweet this out. Send that. Okay. For those of you guys who are trickling in here, if you do have questions, please let me know. I have the price of SPY here on the right side of the screen, right below my face. And then off to the other side, I have Market Net Flow, which shows the net of buys and sells of calls and puts, which are these green and red lines you see. So we'll be going over this tool from last week and see how well it performed, and then we'll see if we can maybe do something here with the last hour of market. Looks like SPY's pushing up to that 444 level, but we'll see what happens here, guys. So don't make me talk to myself during this live stream because I am so boring. So if you guys get bored and fall asleep, it's your own fault. I warned you. So keep me engaged here, and then yeah, ask questions if you guys have it. I'm here for you. But yeah, so what I'll be doing this live stream is I'm going to be backtesting the convergence tool. Because the last few weeks, last week was actually pretty bad for the convergence tool, but weeks prior, it's been upwards of 80 to 85% win rate. So I'm going to be getting that ready. I'm super excited to see how well it performed last week, actually, compared to the week prior. Last week, I felt like it did a little bit better than 2 weeks ago. Because 2 weeks ago, it was like a 55% win rate or 60. It was not very good. I'll have to see. Let me actually see exactly what it was the week before. I'm curious what it was. I always write it down too. So it went 4, 8, 12, 14. So out of 14 trades, it won 5, 7, 8. How many trades? 4, 4, 8, 12, 14, and it won 8. So 8 out of 12. That's not right, right? 4, 8, 12. Oh, yeah, 14 divided by 8, right? 3, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 out of 14. Yeah, it was only a 57% win rate 2 weeks ago. So I'm pretty excited to see what it did last week. What's up, Taylor? What's up? How you guys doing? Okay, so what I do usually on these live streams, I usually do it on Fridays, but I was caught up on something with my daughter, so I was not able to do it on Fridays, so I promised to do it today, which I'm here for today. And then for the one this Friday is going to be a little bit weird because obviously the stock market is half day today, and then on 4th of July, which is tomorrow, it's going to be closed altogether. So it's going to be a very, very short week. And as you can see, it's super low volume too. But let's just back test some of these things, right? The wins are relatively small though, correct? Yes and no. So that's why I kind of like looking at the flow. You'll see, once I back test it, you'll see where I go heavy and where the big winners are at. So like, for example, on Tuesday of last week was a very, very bullish day. So if you get into a convergence play, which are these bars down here at the bottom, you can see some pretty big gains. I think my play on Tuesday, I didn't, context here, I did not get out at 500%, but the play that I got into hit 500% gains. I got out at like 50% gains or something altogether, which is kind of a bummer, but it happens. So let's do some back testing here, guys. And if you guys have questions about this chart or anything, please feel free to ask away. So let's go back to Monday, the 29th. And then let me take a screenshot of this so I can draw on it. And then I'll pull it up here. Okay, so this is the flow on Monday on the 29th of June. So usually what I do is I like following, or when I do backtests, I look and see 15 minutes after market and see what happens to the convergence bars here. So this is about 15 minutes after market. The flow was green. The flow was green and convergence was green. So this was probably a good winner here because you probably could have caught like a dollar move from 15 minutes after market. I don't normally count 15 minutes, the first 15 minutes of market, because there's not enough data to really constitute getting into anything. But convergence down here, these bars were still green, and then SPY continued to go up. It did kind of consolidate a little bit, and then it fell. But if you would have gotten in 15 minutes after market on green convergence, you would have caught like a dollar move or so. So that would be a W there. And then it turned gray, and then we fell down, and then flow crossed here. So let's see if this red one would have worked out. So normally when I get into convergence plays, there has to be a pretty wide divergence of the flow. And it's not too crazy here, but you can still see that there's quite a divergence here. So this one, I don't think this one would have worked out, to be honest. So I'm going to count that one as an L. It did fall a little bit once it went, but not nearly enough to really constitute it as a win because it just headed right back up. But this one worked out. This one was, you can tell that one was a really good one once it flipped red here. That one moved down from like 133.50, 133.25, and then it fell all the way down to 132. Or even lower, 131.5 it looks like. So that one was a W. What about this one here? This one looks like a W too. So this is just rough estimates, guys, but from what I see, you can clearly see if it's a winner or a loser. So this one was a win. This one went from like 132.50 to 131.75-ish. Looks like, yeah. So that's a W, and then this one was a really good one too at close. Holy crap. 4 wins and 1 loss. That's not bad. That is not bad for Monday. 4 out of 5. Okay, let me post this. Okay. Um, Turbo Ricky says, do you also backtest 7-day expiration filters? I don't on the streams, but if you want me to, I would gladly do it. I think it was you, Ricky, that you talked about that last week or a few days ago or something, where you were like, you should backtest the 7 days. We trade short expiration. I might do that. I actually might do that. I normally just like looking at the no filter flow when I do this, so but I do not mind starting to backtest the 7 days too. So this is what I mean about Tuesday, guys. This was the big day. Tuesday was a really good day. Tubb says, are you trading 0DTE weekly? How far out of the money? So usually I do. I hardly ever do 0DTs. There's sometimes when I do, but those are more of lotto plays. I normally trade weeklies though, like 1, 2, 3 day expirations, depending on what I'm feeling like during that time and how the contract prices are moving. But yeah, it's usually out of the money, maybe $1 or $2 out of the money, depending on the contract price and the delta. I don't normally go over. I kind of keep it small account friendly, so I don't really go over $100 per contract usually. So I like to look for contracts that have good deltas, that don't have really high theta, and that I can kind of hold for. If I did want to hold for a whole day, it would be fine, especially on days like this Tuesday that you guys see. So it's usually like 2 day expirations, 1, 2, 3 day expirations, and then $1 or $2 out of the money, maybe 3 if I'm feeling it. If it's like a later expiration. Good question, sir. Okay, so let's see. So this I would not count because this was 15 minutes starting of the market. It did flip green slightly, but it kind of just chopped around. But this green was fat. Holy freaking crap, dude. This was green the whole day. That's a fat W, if you're asking me. That's a terrible W. W's. So that right there was the 500% gain play that I got in. So I got in on the convergence flip here. Flow was very, very good. It was upwards of $10 million net positive. So that's when I really like to pay attention to it, and it just continued up the whole day. Oh man, that was a really good play. But then it was kind of choppy here. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this one? Should I count this one as a win, wash, or loss on this one? So it looks like it went up slightly once it triggered, but it kind of just chopped around. I probably will just count that one as a wash. I don't know if I would count that one as a loss though. Kind of like a wash trade, I think. So 1 for 1 probably. Because that one kind of just chopped around. I don't think you win or loss on that one. So let me post this one. That was Tuesday. Let's do Wednesday, the 28th. Starting off so good, guys. We're starting off really good. Why is my screenshot button not working? There we go. Wash trade, thank you, Bernie. I agree. Okay, so this one was a really good one. So this flipped green roughly around that area. That one was really good because it stayed green and we had a really nice move up. So this was like a $2 win right there. That's a W. So this is where it gets kind of choppy, guys, because it flips and then it flips back gray. So it's kind of weird. So that one was probably a loss. This one was a win, though. This very, very small green. W. This one was probably a loss, I think. Yeah. That one was a loss, and then this one was a win. Those really small ones you got to pay attention to because I normally don't get into convergence plays unless there's a very, very wide divergence between premiums on calls and puts. So like right here is pretty good. This one was a decent one because calls were coming up, and this was like about a $7 to $8 million divergence, I want to say. Maybe 5 5 to 7. So this one was a good one, but these little ones are kind of weird, especially when flow is looking like this. It's weird. So you got to be careful. So it's a 5 trades, 2 losses, so it went 3 for 5 on that Wednesday. Not bad. Do you make profit on day trading or swing trading? It's mostly just day trades. I've been doing convergence trades like this with Flow for a year or so, and it's been very, very profitable, guys. Like extremely profitable. And I've been backtesting this for like a month and a half now, maybe 2 months on YouTube, and it's been insane. Like doing these backtests have really helped me because it sees how awesome this convergence tool is down at the bottom, and then if you pair it with really good flow, you can be upwards of 90% win rate. It's freaking nuts. Like you can ask anyone in Discord how profitable this tool is, especially who pays attention to it. That's why I do the backtest, so to show you guys how good these tools are. So this green convergence worked pretty well, but again, I don't get in unless it's 15 minutes after market. So this, if I would have gotten in green convergence there, that's like $1 win, maybe a little bit less, but still. I'm going to count that one. See how flow's kind of choppy here? You don't really get in when flow's this choppy and this close together. But still, I'm going to backtest it for everyone. This red flip here was bad, so I'll count that one as a loss. It looks like it flipped red there. It flipped a lot here, guys, on Thursday. That was a small win. This was a loss. This one, it's so small. You guys can barely see it. But that's a loss. This green was a win. There's just so many, guys. Again, you have to pay attention to how flow is working and see where it's at. Because this one, these small flips and then flips back can really kill you. That's a W2. And then it was gray the rest of the day. So 2 losses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 wins, and 2 losses, 4 out of 6 flips. And then let's go to Friday. Someone texting me? No. I like these really big ones where there's hardly any flips. This got a little bit weird at the end of the day, guys. I think we're going to have a couple losses over there. This one was a fat win. Green convergence there 15 minutes after market was a W. This was a win. This flipped green barely, maybe for a couple minutes. But this one was a loss. And then this one was a win. W. Then it got kind of choppy over here. I mean, yeah, that one went up just barely though, maybe 50 cents or so. And then it chopped around. I'm going to count these ones as a wash, except for this one. This one's a loss for sure. I'm going to count these ones as wash trades, guys, I think. Because this one was choppy. And then this one was choppy too. Not enough to really be a win. Okay, so those ones are washes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 wins and 2 losses on Friday. Okay, let's tally these up. We had 5, 6, 11, 17, 22 trades out of how many wins? 5, 8, 12, 15. 15 out of 22. So that was a little bit better from the week prior. That was like a 68, 69% win rate right in between it. It's not the best, but it did better than the week prior. Not bad. So that win rate is if you took every single convergence on convergence flips on the market net flow charts, guys. So it doesn't factor in any other DD that you do, like I do. So I like to really pinpoint A plus setups. I don't get into every convergence flip. That'd be too much. Okay, let's see if you guys have questions here. What is your entry criteria in TradingView? What do you mean entry criteria? Are you talking about like my plays? Because if you're talking about my plays, I can tell you my entry criteria. It's a long list, man, and everything has to check out before I get into a play. Seems like the best entry safest is only when there's a flip while calls and puts. Yep, you were completely right, Tubbs. So like on days like Tuesday of last week, when there's a clear direction, guys, and puts, or like if one of these are below zero, I really pay attention. And that's like kind of one of the criteria that I have to get into it. If there's a really wide divergence and one of the premium or one of calls or puts are below zero, that's when I really pay attention to the convergence flips. So Tuesday was a really good day. I think Wednesday was a decent day too. Yeah, Wednesday was a decent day because although puts weren't below zero, it did end up getting below zero eventually. You can see the trend down. So this convergence flip was really good. And then it kind of chopped around the rest of the day. But there's some days that are very good. But when it's like this, it's just best to stay out until you get something like this. So this is a pretty good divergence here, especially when calls had a massive spike up. That would have been a good entry, this convergence flip here, because you would have caught $1 or $2. Friday was a good day too for convergence flips. You got a nice divergence right at open. We kind of came back down. I think I got into some calls on Friday that did pretty well. They went up to like 50% or something. But I think I got out of break even, sadly. Or maybe a small loss or something. But this convergence flip is really good. Look at this. So there's a wide divergence, 15 million in calls, and then like about 5 or so million in, oops, it went back. So on Friday, it was like about 5 or so million in puts and then 15 in calls. That move up kind of scared some people, but the convergence flip did pretty well. Taylor says, I think he means confirmation to enter. Yeah. Yeah, so what I do, I kind of explained it a little bit. So the first thing I always look at before I get into a play, I don't get into every convergence play ever. So when I do these back tests, just know that I don't get into every single convergence flip. But what I do look at first is always the flow. So like on Friday, I can go over kind of why I got into my play on Friday, even though it was a small loss. It's a good learning experience. So what I saw right at market open was a big, huge spike in calls. This is the best kind of days, guys, because this happened on Tuesday when call flow started off really strong. We had a nice move up, and then we retraced a little bit. I got in a little bit too early. I think I got in on this convergence flip here, and then it flipped gray. But you guys can see that it kind of went down like $1 or so. So it retraced. I always have to go back. It's super annoying that it refreshes, but so this is why I got into that play. There was a really wide divergence in calls to puts, and I got in on the convergence flip here. But then it retraced, and I held. I think I was down quite a bit, but it bounced right off of 442, which is a gamma exposure level. I can go over that too. The 0DT gamma exposure is what I pay attention to a lot. But once it retraced, it bounced right off of that, and I think I got out around break even or a small loss. But then it kept continuing up. And that play ended up being like 50% gains, which is kind of rough. But my mistake, what I did here, the learning lesson here was I got in on the green convergence flip. Here it was very small, but then it turned gray.